What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to Down to the Wire. I'm Brian Costa.
And I'm Tyler Stringfellow.
And we have got a great episode in store for you guys today. We are back in the Koffler studio with another live show for you guys tonight. We got some great stuff to talk about, and I am so excited to get things started. Obviously, Tyler Stringfellow, welcome back to the show, man. I'm glad to have you back in the studio, back on with us again. How have you been, man?
Life's been pretty good. Summer was just amazing. I was learning the family business this summer and learned a lot, experienced a lot, and I had a good time doing it.
Yeah.
And took some time off with swim this summer. Actually, wasn't swimming every single day. Was swimming every once in a while, and it was mostly in the weight room. Put on like 15 pounds this summer, and
nice.
I'm cut down right now. Less fat, and it's hit still at the same weight, and I'm feeling pretty good, actually. Feeling good about the new season, the American East now.
Yeah, we're in the American East Conference for sports now, so
feeling pretty good about it. So,
nah, man, it's a pretty good time to be. It's a pretty good time to be a Bryant University Bulldog right now. So we got some good stuff coming up for you.
Well, kind of.
Well,
you have to pay for everything nowadays. Everything is being charged. I have to pay $200 for a parking pass.
Oh my goodness!
I still haven't done that, but I haven't gotten a ticket yet.
I don't think you should say that on air, but take it however you want. But we got a great show for you guys tonight. We're gonna headline Aaron Judge hitting his record-breaking 60-second home run, and we're gonna kind of debate the question as to who is the true home run king, not the AL home run king. It is Aaron Judge. He's the AL home run king.
Yeah, but he's not the. No, he's not.
AL, American League.
He's leading in the home runs, and he just broke the record. That didn't make him the king.
All right, let me explain. So I'll explain that a little bit after, but we're also going to be talking about Tua Tagovailoa's head injury, his concussion, and that was a brutal injury. So we're going to get into that and talk about just the mismanagement and everything that went wrong there. We're also going to break down the Patriots and their quarterback situation right now. Will Mac Jones return? If not, who are we going to see on Sunday?
Bailey Zappe is going to be the GOAT.
Is it going to be Bailey Zappe, the GOAT, or is it going to be Brian Hoyer, kind of the washed up old guy at this point? It's going to be a bit of a question. We also are going to end up talking about Blake Griffin signing with the Boston Celtics. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Tyler has already told me he's got some opinions on Blake Griffin that he's going to get into later in the show. So I am really excited for that. But we obviously are going to lead things off with Aaron Judge. You weren't saying that he is the true home run king. Listen, I'm gonna go out right now, and because the debate right now is like, who is the true home run king? People are saying, is it Barry Bonds because he did it without steroids? Is it Roger Maris before all this happened? What is the true home run king, and who is it? In my opinion, it is Barry Bonds. Aaron Judge is not the true home run king. Now, in the American League, he has hit the most home runs of any player in a single season. Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, and Mark McGwire all played in the National League. So when they set their records, they are the true record holders of that league. Aaron Judge, again, there's no debating it. He is the AL home run king. However, if you were talking about the entire MLB, it is one person and one person only, Barry Bonds. That is it. I know people like to talk about steroids, and listen, I think that it had a tremendous impact on his career, Mark McGwire's career, Sammy Sosa's career. I mean, they just turned into complete monsters. You can't deny that. They were unbelievable when they played. But at the same time, the pitchers who were pitching to them were also juiced out of their minds. They were also roiding up every single day. So when you're
valid point.
And what you have to realize is a lot of people are accusing Aaron Judge right now of receiving some cookies in this latest chase to 62. Same thing with Albert Pujols as he was chasing 700 home runs.
They think he's juicing?
No, they think that pitchers kind of have been, maybe not. They're going out there and they're competing and they're throwing them fastballs, but they're not exactly the most pinpointed, the best thrown balls.
Yeah, this 62 one was kind of a meatball.
Yeah.
If you really watch it, it was really a meatball.
So that's what people have been accusing him of, especially since Aaron Judge kind of went a little while in between home runs number 61 and 62. So people were wondering, is he going to hit 62 this year?
Whoa.
Evidently he did get it, but people were saying, all right, this kind of looks like a bit of a cookie that he might have gotten. I'm going to end up saying this. It looks like a bit of a cookie, but at the same time, he's facing the Texas Rangers, who suck. So there's that.
They stink.
And the difference between that and what Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa faced is they faced pitchers who had roid rage, who were trying to blow it by them. And if they couldn't do that, they were going to take their head off, because that's how freaking just loaded with steroids and drugs these guys were. They were just ready to go to war every single day.
Every day.
And listen, I don't think that. I think the steroid era tainted baseball in a little bit, and because it got a lot of people's expectations up, and the way it was handled and the way everything kind of came apart, it ruined a lot of people's expectations of baseball, caused a lot of people to walk away. But that era also did bring a lot of people back after the strike of 1994. A lot of people, when the players went on a strike, they kind of got angry because of money. A lot of people turned away from baseball. They said, "I'm not going to go back to the ballpark. I'm not going to watch these teams again." The effects and the statistics that were provided to us in the steroid era brought those fans back. And then evidently more and more went away when the scandals, and then again, the biogenesis scandal and everything kind of came up and really ruined everything. Mm-hmm. So for you, Tyler, you obviously have a very, very strong opinion about Barry Bonds being the home run king. Let me hear your perspective on it.
Okay. So he's young, right? He's still very young. I love Aaron Judge. The problem with Aaron Judge is he's not really, I don't think he's on steroids or anything like that. I mean, I would be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if he was, just given his size. But the man is 6'8" and almost 300 pounds of straight muscle.
Yeah.
I mean, Giancarlo Stanton is big too, but Aaron Judge has some sort of power that is unmatched. That man connects with his pinky and it's going to be a home run. That's how he's huge. I would love to see what that man benches. But is it fair to say he's the home run king? No, not even close. No, to be a home run king and to be to throw his name in the conversation with the likes of like a Babe Ruth or a Barry Bonds is, well, it's just not fair.
Aaron Judge has more home runs than Babe Ruth ever has in a single season at this point.
Congratulations. But can he do that consistently? Can he hit 62 home runs and is he going to hit 10 home runs a year for the rest of his career?
No.
Doubt it. But that's such a possibility. Someone like Babe Ruth and Barry Bonds were hitting like consistently probably 40 home runs a year, maybe 30.
40 is usually what they sat around. And I mean,
all right, but that's insane.
No, yeah.
That is an insane amount of home runs.
40, 50.
Exactly. And it is so disrespectful. And I mean, the way I grew up is I'm not a LeBron James fan, for example. I'm a Michael Jordan supporter. I'm not really, obviously Tom Brady's a different story, but like for sports, I usually rock with the older guys. You know, the guys that I never got to see, but the likes of my grandfather got to see, the likes that my dad got to see. And he was like, "Oh my God, you should have seen Larry Bird and Magic Johnson." My grandfather was like, "Oh my God, I got to see like, I don't even know if he got to see Babe Ruth because I have no idea, but either way, but like, you get my point."
Yeah.
But in my head, it's Babe Ruth and Hank Aaron and Barry Bonds are like the home run kings, and even Ken Griffey Jr. Mm-hmm. Ken Griffey Jr. was tiny. Given some of these names that are here, these guys are pretty big.
Yeah.
Like Barry Bonds, massive.
What
and Aaron Judge is massive.
Yeah, no. What a lot of people actually say is that even though Ken Griffey Jr. played through the middle of the steroid era, no one ever throws steroid allegations at him just because he never really turned into just like the human muscles and like the cartoon characters that a lot of these other guys did. Like Barry Bonds,
he didn't scream steroids. No, some of these other guys did. Well, you look at him, you're like, steroids.
Well, Barry Bonds went from having the physique, having like a similar physique as a young Ken Griffey Jr. to just being just roided out of his mind and just like just one giant muscle. Like that's what he ended.
He wanted to look like Bo Jackson.
Pretty much, he kind of turned into that. And like while I wasn't like the biggest fan of like obviously steroids, in my opinion, kind of did ruin baseball in a little bit. Like you can't ignore those statistics. I remember I was seeing the clip of it today where Barry Bonds hit his 71st home run to pass Mark McGwire's record back in 2001. And just you literally see like the chyron of the statistics, and it says he's batting .323 with 70 home runs. And in my opinion, like the only other time I've really seen those statistics is in a video game. Like if someone's playing like Road to the Show, like you'd see like someone like with those statistics, like, just like playing like MLB The Show. Like you don't see those statistics normally. And it was such an anomaly.
Or you're playing wiffle ball or something.
No, literally. Like that's where you'd see those statistics. So, I mean, I'm going to give Aaron Judge's credit, though. He is having one of the best seasons ever for himself.
Outstanding.
Like, you have to give this man his flowers. Like,
we hate the Yankees.
Yeah, but he is doing incredible right now. And honestly, it's a great story, too, because the Yankees ended up saying, "Hey, we're going to pay you all this money. I think it was like $230 million is what they offered him as a contract. And Aaron Judge said, no, I'm worth more than that. And he turned them down and he said, I'm going to go prove myself, and proceeds to go out and have one of the best statistical seasons in MLB history. Like he
did this a couple years ago too. He was him and Giancarlo Stanton, when Stanton was still on the Marlins, were going like home run for home run. And that was what, 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah, it was 17 is when he did that.
So look at that.
Yeah.
That's consistent. There's a little bit more consistency. Now he's got to do that for what? I give it another 5-something years. Yeah. 5 to 7 years before you can throw his name in there.
Yeah, I mean, like,
respectfully.
Well, I mean, at least for a single season, Aaron Judge has had one of the greatest home run seasons ever. You can't deny it, and you can't take it away from him. So there is that. In terms of consistency, sure, you can make that case. But and I think injuries is going to be Judge's biggest thing. It's not going to be a decline in production, just the power that he possesses. You're never going to see a decline in his production just without injury or his back kind of getting into things. Like his back is probably going to be what ends up taking him out at the end of the day. But
so big.
But right now he's in a groove right now, and I think that he is just at the top of his game.
I vividly remember watching when Aaron Judge won the home run derby. That man won it without breaking a sweat.
No, yeah.
Without breaking a sweat. That's just that's how he's incredible. But I don't know, man. He's just something else. I think we could be seeing a once in a lifetime kind of player, just for, everything he's going to be doing. But do you think he's worth the MVP?
100%. I'm sorry. People like to talk about Shohei Ohtani and talk about what he does. I'm sorry. I can make the case and say that Shohei Ohtani deserves the MVP because he goes out there and he pitches and he's a power hitter at the plate. I would say that any other year besides this year, because Aaron Judge single-handedly led the Yankees to the postseason this year.
Valid.
Like, I mean, when the Yankees went cold, Aaron Judge was the only hot spark in that lineup that kept them going, because the Yankees fell off hard. They were ahead by so much in the American League East. I forget how many games they were up, but I think it was double digits. And then
they were spanking everybody.
No, they were spanking. They were killing everyone. And it just seemed like the 28th ring was a certainty at that point. Now things have kind of gotten walked back, and it's like, all right, there's a bit more of a reality check here. Maybe Nestor Cortez can pitch you a good game every here and there, but you're not going to be getting like lights out. I mean,
they need another consistent star.
Exactly.
In any form of the game.
So, I mean, you still have good complementary pieces. Like you said, Giancarlo Stanton is a good piece for them, but
not bad. Not bad.
But they're still looking at a lot of other things.
He's older though. He's getting old. I don't know how old is Judge?
Judge is 30.
He's older than I thought.
Yeah. He debuted at 25, so he debuted a little older, so that's why.
Right. I knew that. Yeah, but I mean, I really don't think they're going to pay him. To be honest, I don't think the Yankees are going to pay him.
I don't know what the Yankees are going to do. I mean, they have more money than God, so they can pay him. They can pay him if they want to, and frankly, I think they should, because with the way that they fell off, they need to certify that their star player is there. Now, maybe they see this and they end up saying, well, we fell off, so we want to kind of keep ourselves more well-rounded. But Aaron Judge is the heart and soul of the Yankees right now. He needs to re-sign with the New York Yankees because they need him.
That's their franchise player.
Yeah, they need him more than he needs them. But like, it is apparent right now. Like,
he doesn't need the Yankees.
No, he doesn't.
I would not be surprised if he came to Boston solely because Boston has never been afraid to shell out a lot of money. Never has been.
Well, I would argue with that with you, because lately under this new regime of Chaim Bloom, the Red Sox have been playing things very fiscally conservative, and they
blew a load of money on Trevor Story.
Yeah, but here's the thing: the reason people say that they blew a lot of money on Trevor Story is because they paid him as a second baseman. If Xander Bogaerts walks, that 100, I believe 27 million over 5 years really isn't that much when you consider it for a shortstop, which is likely what's going to happen, where Xander Bogaerts will likely walk in free agency. Trevor Story will then slide over to shortstop, and we will then look at finding a second baseman in the offseason. That's most likely what's going to happen. So in a way, you could say that we threw a lot of money at Trevor Story, but for the position he might be playing, we kind of got him at a bit of a bargain. So that's the situation with him. So there's been a lot of cases recently where we've played things very safe. And I don't know, maybe ownership is going to get in this year, and they're going to say, hey, we stunk this year, and we had to pay the luxury tax, and we're not doing that again. So we're actually gonna call the shots here. You better re-sign Bogarts. You better re-sign Devers, and just basically go all out like they did in 2015. I've been hearing a lot of people comparing this team right here to the 2014 Red Sox, where in 2013 you kind of came off a whim, off a last place finish the season prior, and you got hot at the right time, and you made a great postseason push. I mean, think about it. This team last year was 2 wins away from the World Series. The 2013 team won the World Series. So, I mean, there's a big difference between those teams, but within this year, we kind of tried to stay true to our morals. We fall back and we end up being in last place. And then think about what we did in 2015. We went out there and we signed Hanley Ramirez and Pablo Sandoval. Now,
Sandoval,
what a
joke.
No, yeah. Obviously, those deals did not work in our favor.
Hanley wasn't too bad.
Yeah, but eventually
we wanted better though.
Yes,
it was. He's all right.
So obviously those players didn't work in our favor, but it did show that when after a last place finish, this team the Red Sox aren't going to be afraid to go out there and shell out some money. So could they go out there and offer Judge maybe a 3-year deal and a lot of money over those 3 years? It's possible. But then at the same time, I'm not guaranteeing you that Xander Bogaerts and Rafael Devers are going to be here. So what do you want? Do you want Xander Bogaerts and Rafael Devers, or do you want Aaron Judge? Because I don't think you're going to be able to get both.
I for defensive reasons, I'd have to say Bogaerts and Devers, but those also are your leaders of the team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Devers was our only All-Star, wasn't he? Or was Bogaerts?
Both were.
Both were?
Both were there.
Okay, either way. I know Devers was starting.
Yes.
So those are your 2 leaders in that team, and I think you have to re-sign at least one of those guys.
Yeah.
And I'd have to say it should be Devers because I think he's got more of an upside. But Bogaerts is your shortstop, and who's the leader in the infield? It's the shortstop.
Yeah.
And Trevor Story wasn't bad at second base.
No, he's not bad at all.
Wasn't he just kept getting injured?
Yeah, he kind of had the injury bug and also kind of started off pretty cold in Boston, so it just never worked in his favor.
There was a time when he was hot.
Yeah,
he was hot.
He had a week where he was Babe Ruth.
Exactly.
I mean, he had a Babe Ruth week. So I mean, It's possible for everyone. But getting back to the Yankees before we do close out this section, I mean, I don't know. I think that they do need to bring back Judge. I think that if they don't, they're going to be dead in the water, and they're actually going to take a step back next year. And then the AL East is really going to be anyone's ball game again, because if the Yankees take a step back from their dominance, the Red Sox could have a shot to get back in it, but I think they're going to need a year to kind of recoup. But then again, who knows? And then the Rays are going to try to be back in it again because they were the leaders last year. The Blue Jays are going to make a push, and then even the Orioles showed some promise last year with guys like Ryan Mountcastle. And who's the guy they have behind the plate? I know his name. The catcher.
Oh, I have no idea.
Adley Rutschman is who they have behind the plate. He was the top prospect in baseball for a little bit. So
I think I know who you're talking about.
So they have a lot of promising, guys coming up in the system. So the AL East is the most competitive division in baseball. There's no debating it. So it's going to be an exciting year next year. Hopefully the Red Sox can get back into things, make a push, but we can only wait and see. So now we're going to end up transitioning things over into NFL news. But before we do that, I want to say that if you guys are not following Down to the Wire at this point,
what are you doing, man? I mean, come on. What? What? It's so easy.
No, it really is very easy, Tyler. We're available on all streaming platforms like Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all the good ones. You can also watch the video stream of this show on YouTube, and you can follow us on Instagram at down.to-the-wire. Again, on the IG, it is at down.to-the-wire. Let's transition into football now. We got some good stuff in football news. Unfortunately, the first topic we're starting off with
not the greatest of news.
It's not the greatest of news, but we got some good stuff to talk about. Good newsworthy things is what
indubitably
is a better way to say it. But last Thursday we saw an absolute horror show on the field versus in the Miami Dolphins Cincinnati Bengals game. The talk of the game should have been how clean those Cincinnati Bengals all white uniforms are. Those things look nice. I'll give it to them. I like the white helmets. I like the way that looked.
I'll discuss that after.
It was cool. I thought it was a cool look. I thought it was a cool look. They don't need to make it their everyday look, but for a one-time game, I didn't mind it. And that should have been the discussion of the entire game of just like, hey, look how cool these uniforms are.
Nope.
But instead, we are treated to instead, we end up seeing Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa on the ground spasming out of control after he takes a second hit to the head in 4 days. Now, the previous Sunday when he faced the Buffalo Bills, he took a hit to the head, stands up to try to walk back to the huddle, and his legs go out from underneath him. And that was a scary sight alone. I mean, you saw like literally like that just show that's literally something in the brain shutting off and saying, I can't do this right now. Like he was walking and all of a sudden his legs turned to jello and he went down. The Dolphins tried to cover this up and say it's a back injury and they ended up saying that, all right, Tua has passed concussion protocol and he's clear to play on Thursday Night Football. Only 4 days later, not even a full week off. 4 days later, he gets hit on the head. Well, he hits his head on the ground and literally goes unconscious. And you see his hands curl up in just this really crooked and gruesome manner and just are just presented in front of his face. And immediately, like everyone was just saying that's something neurological. Something is wrong with him. And I'm saying this now because thankfully now they
looked like he was just throwing up hand gestures.
No, it did. It looked like he was like doing like sign language or like some charades. Like it didn't look natural. And it just, especially in that moment. So when you took out the moment, when you realized, all right, he's not doing this as like a gag and he's not like doing like some weird like hand movement and you realized this is a reactionary response. It's like, oh boy, this is serious. Like this is bad.
So this is where football is very scary. Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned he got hit in the head. I hate to correct you, but he technically didn't.
Well, he hit his head on the ground.
Technically, and that is the biggest difference in the world. Mm-hmm. He got his head whipped back against the turf. Now,
and that's the problem with the NFL because they've perfected these helmets enough in a way that they can kind of like hits to the head directly from a player. That's not really something that you're seeing a lot of concussions from.
No, you're basically hitting cement.
Yeah.
When he got pushed to the ground, he got pushed and he started to fall over and his butt finally hit the ground first. And what comes down next? Your neck is going to break backwards. Mm-hmm. And it was very, very scary because I got it right here. He got up, looked like he was fine, started running like an idiot. First of all, he wasn't running like a normal person. And then he's, like you said, he fell and he looked so loopy.
Yeah.
But the issue is,
well, he's shaking out the cobwebs there. When he was shaking his head, that's someone because
he used to be like, whoa,
we've all gotten hit in the head before. I didn't play football, but I've gotten hit in the head in other sports. And you do that shaking of the head, and it's just like, whoa, like I just got my bell rung.
Yeah, what just happened?
It's just like, what just happened? And like he did that, and it proceeded to take him out.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen that before. That was scary enough on its own.
It is very scary, but this, along with the Tua injury, like. There's no shot he should have been allowed to go back in that game. Allowed to play in against Cincinnati. My bad.
Well, he actually was not supposed to be able to play because it ends up turning out that the NFL basically, since there's a culture of like coaches and stuff trying to encourage people to go back onto the field,
like shake it off. You're fine. Go back in. Rub some dirt on it. Go back in.
And after the NFL got busted for like the whole concussion thing, you remember the famous Will Smith movie now at this point where he plays that doctor.
Fantastic movie, by the way. If you haven't seen that movie, I recommend. It is a fantastic movie. A little sad, but fantastic.
Yeah. So like in that movie, like it basically the movie and then the actual movement behind it inspired the NFL really to kind of, implement some policies where they're supposed to have like these private and like, unaffiliated doctors evaluate these quarterbacks and other people too, and just say like, all right, yeah, you're safe to play and like not have any pressure of anyone else. And it's supposed to be very independent. What they found out is that the doctor who evaluated Tua made, quote, numerous errors in their assessment of him. And that doctor has since been fired.
Yep.
So
rightfully so.
No, yeah, because
you do not have to be a doctor to understand that this man should not have been playing on a Sunday to Thursday quick turnaround, let alone a Sunday to Sunday.
Yeah.
But Sunday to Thursday, oh my, what the heck?
I'm a communication student and I could have diagnosed that guy with a concussion. I'm sorry.
Dude, my girlfriend is a nursing major and she's learning just everything. And it's just chaotic. But anyway, I showed her this and because she doesn't understand football, doesn't watch it, but I was like, you got to watch this. Like, this is the first hit. And then this was Thursday. And she was like, he was allowed to play. I go, exactly. She's like, well, who's the doctor? And I'm like, well, he just got fired. She was like, well, of course he did.
Yeah.
That man clearly got his degree from like Wikipedia or something. Online classes.
Yeah.
Like it is so ugly, but This also
WebMD.
Yeah, but this brings up a really interesting point. And you mentioned finding a little subtopic to talk about, and I think I just found one.
Yeah, what's that?
Turf.
Yes.
Turf. There are players. I know Odell Beckham Jr. has been caught tweeting about it recently, but there was a player that tore his ACL recently, non-contact injury. His foot got caught in the turf. Your head is hitting this turf. That is like hitting cement. When it hits grass, it's a little softer. That concussion could have been a lot less severe. Grant, he still would have gotten a concussion, but it wouldn't have been as severe. And I think that is a huge thing for the NFL to look into. Is it time to get rid of turf altogether?
I think that we need to look at that. Like, definitely. The NFL, it's tough. And I here's the thing: the way Tua and most quarterbacks and guys like that suffer concussions, it's not like them just hitting the turf is what. It's not like just like the hard surface is what causes the concussion.
It's the exact spot.
Well, what it is that your brain isn't in your skull. It's not like perfectly like there. It's kind of almost floating and like there's some space there.
Yeah.
What causes the concussion is the brain it's the brain smacking against the skull, and it's the bruising of the brain in that area. That's what causes the concussion. It's not just like you hitting a hard object and it's like, oh, I now have a concussion.
He basically got whiplash.
Yes,
that's basically a whiplash concussion.
Yeah, so that's what he suffered right there. What you're talking about with the turf, that's something that guys are looking at more for non-contact knee injuries.
Yeah,
I 100% agree with you. I mean,
and this is another reason. I think this brings up a valuable point. Is that could the concussion have been a little less severe? 100%. I easily think that concussion could have been less severe if he hits real grass and it's a little softer. Still, he's getting a concussion because he slammed the back of his head. But I mean, like that, and it's been talked about recently about the turf. I mean, the non-contact injuries, as you mentioned, a player was just running and stopped and boom, ACL's gone.
No, yeah, it
that's
really
scary.
It's done like that. That's the thing too. It's like a lot of these ACL injuries. It's not even guys like getting hit on the knee. I remember Rob Gronkowski tore his ACL because TJ Ward flew into his knee on a dirty play, and it's like yep, that'll tear your ACL.
A real ACL
like that'll tear your ACL, and that was caused during the game. But a lot of these ACL tears, it's just guys running routes, and all of a sudden their knee just goes, which is like the scariest thing ever because there's really nothing you could have done to have prevented that. There's no training you can do. It's just that you stepped in a bad spot on that grass, and your body is just not forgiving enough to handle that. Yep. I mean, OBJ, and in the Super Bowl, as we remember, he went down with that knee injury, which ended up being an ACL tear. That was his second ACL tear, which I believe was in the same knee he suffered the first one in.
Yeah.
I have a friend who's suffered an ACL tear, and he's actually suffered a second one as well. But technically, after you tear your ACL and they repair it, it's supposed to be stronger than your initial ACL. It's like after breaking a bone when you're younger and the bone heals. That bone is supposed to be stronger than the bone before it broke. So it's supposed to not be able to happen again, as long as it heals. Yeah. If everything heals right and then you're 100% cleared, it is supposed to be, 100% you're good to go. That the fact that it was able to happen to OBJ again just shows how much like force and tension was put on that muscle and on that tendon. So the fact that these guys are just going out there and this is happening to them repeatedly, I do agree with you. Something needs to change. I mean, I think Tom Brady, he originally, I think in the early 2000s, like asked the Patriots if they could change the turf. And I don't remember everything behind this story. I think the Patriots used to be on turf. And then I think Tom Brady made an appeal to the team and said, hey, could we play on grass? And the Patriots changed to an all grass field.
They lived with grass for a while.
Yeah.
When the early 2000s, the big Brady Manning rivalries at Foxborough were like notorious because you can tell, they're playing on grass, 100% grass.
And for a little bit, they did go to turf. They went to turf for a little bit, and then they did shift back to grass. So and I think I remember there was a story, I forget where it came from, but I remember hearing that Tom Brady made a pitch to the team to bring back the grass field, and they did it. Yeah. So I think the NFL is definitely going to look at it.
When did they go back to turf?
Well, if it was sometime in the mid 2010s or late 2000s. It was after the big Brady Manning rivalries.
Yeah, because they're turf now.
Yeah.
Sadly.
I think I don't know if the Pats are turf now.
Yeah, they are.
Are they turf now? Okay, they might have shifted back. But yeah, no, like that is something that that is like constantly looked at. Yeah. And I think the NFL, not even when the NFL, when the MLB and a lot of teams like the Houston Astros, when they played inside and they played on the Astrodome, when the
AstroTurf,
when the Minnesota Twins when the Minnesota Twins played on AstroTurf in Minnesota,
AstroTurf was way worse.
Absolutely. It's carpet. It is green carpet. That is it.
On cement.
Yeah.
Straight up cement.
I mean, go back and look at the Patriots' first Super Bowl against the St. Louis Rams. It looks like they're playing on a gym floor.
Yep.
You can't even tell that there is an actual
you can't even tell it's grassy kind of.
It literally looks like a flat just piece of floor. There's nothing
weird.
to it.
It is weird.
It's very weird. So I mean,
not safe at all.
No, and obviously they've modified some turf, and it's some is better than others, but there's always still ways that you can mess it up because turf is placed in patches. It's
it is
it's not like you just roll out some giant turf field. There's patches to things.
It's like a puzzle,
and
it's a puzzle. How do you think they take MetLife Stadium gets the end zones changed because for Jets Giants?
Absolutely,
they just take out the pieces and then put the new pieces back in.
No, yeah,
it is very easy,
and which then makes it very easy for something to go wrong.
Exactly.
So if a piece of turf is placed wrong, or say that the paint that's used on the field is in the wrong place. Remember, they canceled the Hall of Fame game because they ended up saying, "Hey, we did the paint wrong."
Yep.
And they were like, "Hey, the paint was done wrong in this field. You guys can't play here." So it could be the paint, it can be the turf, it can be a whole lot of things are causing injuries for players. And the NFL does need to do a better job because listen, they're a multi-billion-dollar organization. They
are cheap as hell.
And yeah, and they could pay for all their teams to use grass, even the ones that use indoor stadiums. I mean, look at the Arizona Cardinals and the Las Vegas Raiders.
They wheel them in.
They play out, and they wheel in grass. They have the ability to do it. They just won't. So I think the NFL does need to examine it, see what they can do because something does need to change.
Oh, 100%. And I think like I said, the turf is definitely something they should look into because that's an easy fix.
No, it is.
But that also causes a lot of injuries, more than we think. And people, like I said, people are talking about the ACL thing. No one's even talking about the fact that Tua got a concussion from slamming his head twice. It's just from slamming his head. He didn't get hit in the head. It's slamming his head. And even I'm looking over the second one, and he doesn't get tossed down that hard.
Yeah, it was a pretty aggressive sack.
It was, but a normal quarterback would have been a little dizzy from it. I don't think it would have been as big of a concussion. But the fact that he had to get stretchered out showed he should not have been playing in that game.
No.
And shame on that doctor.
Yeah.
Shame on that doctor for allowing someone like that. That this is somebody was having a great season, but he's also injury prone as hell.
Yes.
How many injuries he's had at Alabama? Too many. Way too many. And he's already had so many in the NFL. And as somebody said, I wouldn't be surprised if this ended his career.
It could. It at least could derail it because I think this could be something there are tons of players that have had just a history of concussions and just have to retire at a young age. Like there are tons of guys that just have to retire at age 28 or something like that because it's just hey, I just got beat up too much in the head and I just can't take it anymore.
Calvin Johnson said that. Calvin Johnson was like, I've taken too many hits to the head. I'm done before I have any severe problems.
I mean, you look at CTE and just what it does to people. I mean, some of these players have killed themselves because of what's gone on. Yeah.
And if you watch the movie Concussion, they talk about all that and in depth. It's mostly all about the Pittsburgh Steelers players that all of a sudden were just going on a string of, acts like that. But
I mean, there were other situations too. I mean, Demaryius Thomas is another example. He was involved in a car accident, and I believe that caused a lot of his issues. But a lot of people looked at his situation as well.
Aaron Hernandez,
yeah, there was
he had levels of CTE that were off the charts, and then
Rodney Harrison.
Just
want to say it still doesn't excuse the situation.
No, but Rodney Harrison. Rodney Harrison's got some stuff. Sometimes he has to sit in a dark room at home. I've heard that. And then
Junior Seau.
If you ever I don't know if maybe not hear about Trey Mason. Remember him? The running back for the St. Louis Rams had a stellar rookie year, and everybody was like, "Oh, this guy could be good." All of a sudden, second year fell off, third year out of the league. Why? Apparently, he's got so much CTE that he's just I read he's got a mind of a child now.
Yeah.
And he's just it's brutal.
The problem with CTE is you can't diagnose it until the player is dead.
You can't diagnose it, but there's studies being done that you can tell for early warning signs. But like you said, you can't really tell until the person's gone that you can notice it.
No, I mean, one person which you can notice it in though is Antonio Brown
Oh my God.
That is one where you can tell that there is something going on there.
You think?
I mean, look at the interviews of Antonio Brown before the hit he suffered at the hands of Vontaze Burfict.
That man is nuts.
No.
That man is nuts.
Now, I mean, obviously, like from what I've heard from certain doctors, it takes more than one hit. You can't just like get one like really bad hit to the head and it's like, oh, CTE. Like that isn't how CTE works. It's the repetitive trauma that causes it. But you know, players are always going to take some hits to the head. But you
They're
just
always gonna get slammed their heads on the ground.
But you to show a quick comparison. There's a clip of Antonio Brown, which is a really popular one, where, you know, I think it was after a big Steelers win and Big Ben was complimenting him. And he was like smiling. He was saying, man, I love to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. I love Ben Roethlisberger. I love everything that this team stands for. And he's like very happy, very professional, and like just really good. And then you see this guy naked in a pool like now. So it's like what could have happened? Like, it's crazy.
What I wonder what did happen. And he came to New England and he was here for like what?
He was here for a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
like, really.
He had a stellar game when he played with Tom Brady for a little while.
Yeah.
But he's got something wrong. He's got a bunch of screws loose and he has no idea where they are.
No, exactly.
Not a clue.
No, I mean, it's a real shame to see what happened with him, but
it's a real shame to see what injuries like this can do to somebody's career. I mean, like you see somebody like Teddy Bridgewater who had like a severe knee injury, and I mean he almost lost his leg. But like certain injuries can be prevented, and I think it can start with the turf. Yeah, can prevent a lot of things, specifically ACLs and concussions.
I mean, I think it starts with awareness too, because I don't know if you've seen this. This is something that I've known for a little while now, but after the Tua injury, I kind of remembered it again. In Madden, they don't have concussion listed as an injury. Because of how prevalent it became, no player in Madden suffers concussions, they suffer head injuries. But the word concussion does not appear in Madden because it used to be an injury that guys could get in Madden, but the way it was applied, and just also like a concussion would just mean, oh, he's out for the game. He's not out for like weeks, because like it would be like, oh, it's just like, oh, like he kind of just like he, you know, broke his pinky nail or something like that. It's just like, oh, it's no big deal. He'll be back. And I think the NFL just like, through the way that was done, they just said, all right, just take it out of the game entirely, because we don't want to have to deal with the ramifications of that.
Yep.
So that's what they did. And that's where we are now. I mean, it's a crazy place to be, but you know, it's pretty interesting. I'm wondering how the NFL is going to react to this going forward. The Patriots are dealing with this right now inside their own locker room right now. Brian Hoyer, on Sunday went out to face the Green Bay Packers. In the first quarter, goes down, diagnosed with a concussion, and out for the game.
Yeah, there was no shot he was coming back. No. Not even a little. No way.
So he's going through concussion protocol right now. And Bailey Zappe is our backup quarterback. And that kind of leads us into our next topic, which, you know, the Bailey Zappe went out there. I think he had like 13 pass attempts, 15 pass attempts, threw for 99 yards, and then had a touchdown to Devontae Parker.
He was 10 for 15, 99 yards, 6.6 yards per game, or yards per throw, basically. He had a touchdown, and then he had a 107 passer rating.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, he went out there and he did all right for the situation he was put in. I mean, the fact that we're on our third string quarterback, we're on our third string quarterback against the Green Bay Packers. And listen, you can make the case that they aren't the team that they once were in the early to mid 2000s, but you're still facing Aaron Rodgers on the other side.
But how scary is that? Being a rookie quarterback, you're the third string quarterback, you're forced into it, and who's over there on the other sideline that you're going drive for drive with? Aaron Rodgers.
He's essentially your equal in this game. That's terrifying.
That is a
first game.
Oh,
like I'm to be frank, Bailey Zappe probably thought his season was over after the preseason. He probably thought he was never going to touch the field again, unless it was for some kneel downs in like week 17.
Even if he got to dress, they normally just dress him, Hoyer and Jones. Zappe's usually never dressed.
Yeah, Zappe, honest to God, probably just thought his season was over and he was just going to be taking reps on the practice squad.
Exactly.
He probably thought it was done. Then you're in Lambeau Field in, you know, week 5 of the NFL season, or week 4 or 5.
4.
Yeah, 4. My bad. You're in the like it's like, what the heck just happened to me? Like,
what is going on?
Exactly.
Oh my! I feel bad for the guy considering that was his first game, but what better way to show up than going toe to toe with Aaron Rodgers?
Absolutely. I mean, he did a very good job, and for the situation he was put in, Bill knew not to like stress him out not too much, not to put him in any crazy situations. And I think that things went as well as he could have. Obviously, a win would have been nice, but when you're put in that situation, the fact that we didn't get 40-pieced is kind of a miracle. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad with that. The fact that the fact the Packers defense didn't have a field day against this kid, I'm happy with that. I really can't complain.
The Patriots looked pretty good, actually.
No,
considering as a team, they looked all right. The offensive line is still
trash.
A little questionable.
Trash.
And you have Bailey Zappe and Mac Jones. Those quarterbacks cannot be hit that much. If they get to Bailey Zappe now, it's game over. And then if Mac Jones come back and they still get to him, it's over for him. These young quarterbacks, when they start to get hit a lot and their confidence starts to go down, they tend to get hit a lot or injured a lot. Look at Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck got hit all the time, and then he finally starts to retire, and their offensive line is the best in the league.
Yeah, I mean,
Cincinnati.
Yeah,
Cincinnati is not doing well because Joe Burrow is no. I guarantee you, he's not comfortable in that pocket.
No,
and as cool as he is, and as icy as he is not comfortable in that pocket, knowing he's going to get hit 100%.
No, I mean, these guys, after a while, they kind of get shell shock. It's just like, oh boy, am I going to get hit this time? What's going to happen? When in the Brady 6 documentary, where it talks about Tom Brady being the 6th quarterback drafted in 2001, they talk about Giovanni Carmazzi and
they hit too much.
Yeah, well, they like the Patriots just had a field day against the 49ers O-line. And he just went down. And a lot of people think that, he lost confidence that day and was never able to become anything close to the quarterback he could have been in the league. So a lot of people look at that.
A sheep herder.
Yeah, he's a sheep herder now. Exactly. So it's just like, if these guys take too many hits, it's like
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah,
Trevor Lawrence is having a great season so far. I mean, it's only we're going into week 5.
Yeah,
but he's showing a lot of poise in that pocket, and he's not getting hit as much as he was last year. And I think that's a huge confidence booster, knowing that you can stand up tall, throw that ball, and you're fine. You're not going to get a scratch on you. I mean, why do you think Tom Brady is playing? He's 45.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't get hit as much because he had that quick release. Mm-hmm. Julian Edelman would run a 5-yard route and he boom, ball. Another 5-yard route, boom, ball. And he slowly marched down the field, but he never got hit.
Yeah.
Tom Brady rarely gets hit. And when Tom Brady, how many games can you can probably count on your fingers how many bad games Tom Brady's had in his life.
Mm.
And all those games have one thing in common. They got to Tom Brady. Get to Tom Brady and it's game over for him. That's how you win. That's how you win. That's how you beat him.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, these past couple years, I don't know, because the man is just a genius.
No, yeah.
But that's how you ruin a quarterback's day. But Bailey Zappe looks pretty good. And the team as a whole looked all right.
Mm-hmm.
I liked a lot of the young pieces. I mean, Devontae Parker had a nice touchdown reception. I would love them to get him more involved and get him the ball a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that touchdown, that catch from Bailey Zappe, if Zappe is the quarterback this weekend, I think that's a good little safety blanket right there. I think he could be the safety blanket for Zappe, actually.
If Hoyer is cleared, do you want Bailey Zappe or do you want Brian Hoyer?
If Hoyer starts playing like trash, I think you throw in Zappe and be like, you know what, kid, you showed some poise last week. Let's see what you got.
But you would start Hoyer.
I think you have to start Hoyer. Hoyer's been in the league for a long time.
This all is under the impression that Mac Jones can't return. Obviously, he was at practice, and people are saying
he should not return.
People are saying there's a shot he could play Sunday against the Lions. We'll have to see. If he's cleared, then that changes this. But yeah, just like still, you would say start Hoyer.
I think that. Look who you're playing. So let's say this. Look who you're playing. You're playing the Detroit Lions. I say you play Brian Hoyer. This is the worst defense, the 32nd ranked defense in the league in the Lions. You start Brian Hoyer. If that man is garbage, we got bigger problems on our hands. That man is way better off as coach then. But he's got to be on that sideline for Zappe anyway. But I think that if he starts out hot in the first and second quarter, I think you could say, all right, if the win's going to be a guarantee, let's throw in Zappe. Let's see what this kid's got. This is the 32nd worst defense in the league. What's he going to do? Turn the ball over all the time? I doubt it. Mm-hmm. But I think this week could be a great game for Zappe to see what maybe he's got in him. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Let him sling the ball a little bit.
Yeah, my opinion. I just want to see the kid. I mean, listen, Hoyer is a great quarterback and he knows the offense like the back of his hand. Was a great quarterback for Tom Brady to have behind him for so many years.
He actually wasn't that bad of a starter when he was playing. He took Cleveland almost to a playoff run a bunch of years back, and I thought he was going to stay there as their starter. They ended up kicking him in the can. But he was all right.
No, and I'll give Brian Hoyer that I don't think that he's had a track record of some success in the NFL, and obviously
just not consistent enough.
He's a very smart quarterback too. Like he knows his stuff, but at the same time, like I just remember that Kansas City Chiefs game where it was just a complete nightmare, and they had to get him out of there as soon as possible because it was just a dumpster fire. And I don't know. I feel like when you just go with Brian Hoyer, you're just expecting mediocrity. I like the mystery of seeing what this kid could bring us. I mean,
I do exactly.
I like that, and it's just like I don't know. Brian Hoyer is just like he's the definition of a stiff. I'm sorry.
So
I love him to death, and he's a great guy. But you're not getting blown away with Brian Hoyer.
So I see this. This is a great opportunity to see Zappe because who are your leaders on this offense? Who's your leader? Who do you think is the leader on this offense?
That's the thing.
It's David Andrews.
Yes.
All day, every day. That is the leader of this offense, whether you like it or not. He's the leader. He's just the most accomplished, and he's smart. He's brilliant. And I think you throw Zappe in there with David Andrews. I think that is the best combination you can have. David Andrews is going to be like, all right, kid, I saw this, I saw that. Guaranteed. Maybe pointing some stuff out at the offensive the offensive line.
Sure.
Pointing some stuff out to him, calling a blitz or two. He's one of the smartest offensive linemen in the league, and probably the smartest center. In my opinion, I think he is. And I think that's a huge confidence booster for Bailey Zappe, knowing that, all right, I'm not going to have really any problems with the center at all. He's going to help me because look at your weapons. These guys are all young, new to this team. Damian Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne's been in the league a little bit, but he's new to the team. Devontae Parker's brand new. Nelson Aguilar's brand new. Hunter Henry's basically new. With Jordan Humphrey, he's a rookie. And I mean, like, your leaders and your experienced players aren't out on the field with you. Matthew Slater's not out there. I would love if we could get him some wide receiver reps.
No.
If Bailey's out there.
No.
Oh,
no.
You heard it right here.
I am so sorry.
If Bailey Zappe is out there, I want to see if they can get Slater in there a couple plays.
No.
Just a couple.
I will tell
just
you
a couple.
I will tell you why.
He sucks at receiver.
He sucks at receiver.
But I would love to see him a little out there.
I love Matthew Slater to death. I mean, he visited Bryant last year in the fall, and
he's a great man.
No,
he knows my aunts know him.
Yeah. No, he's a fantastic guy. But I just remember it was the AFC Championship game. It was after the Patriots won Super Bowl 49. So it was the year that was Super Bowl 50 when Peyton Manning won. And Tom Brady is playing the Denver Broncos and Manning's last year. And everyone was saying, "Oh, the Patriots are going to go back to the Super Bowl. This is their year again." And Manning went out there and shut the door on them. Who was the first person that Tom Brady threw that to that day? Matthew Slater. And that kind of just spells disaster when Matthew Slater is the first guy targeting your offense. It just shows, we're really emptying the gun here. We have nothing left.
We got nothing in here.
So that's why I'm not really trying to see Matthew Slater. Also, he's such a good special temer. I don't even want to take a risk of him getting hurt.
That is also true.
I don't need
to
take
that risk. That's also true.
But
I just say it from a veteran standpoint. If I see Slater go out there with Zappe, I'm like, okay.
I'm panicking.
I feel no. I actually would feel, because I can guarantee he's not even going to throw the ball to him. But I would love to see maybe them be able to use his speed. He was a great returner in college, so maybe a little reverse to him, a little handoff kind of deal. I'd actually feel pretty good about that. With Mac Jones in the lineup, no, get him out. I don't want to see Slater in there at all. But I would love to see him because he's going to help. He's a smart player.
I'm pretty sure if Bill Belichick tells Matthew Slater to line up a wide receiver, he might consider quitting on this.
Yeah, he'd be like, dude, are you feeling okay?
Are you okay?
Bill, are you all right? You all right, man? Okay. No, but I would love to see what Bailey Zappe can do, man. I mean, we got some playmakers, actually, receiver and stuff. We got some playmakers. Nelson Aguilar is not too bad. But who's our number one receiver? I think it's Bourne.
Well, it should be Bourne, but Matt Patricia's froze him out of the offense.
Well, because he pissed him off.
Yeah, but I don't care. Here's the thing.
That's how you gain respect in this league.
I don't care if Matt Patricia is pissed off by Kendrick Bourne. Matt Patricia should not be an offensive coordinator in this league.
All right,
he should not be an offensive coordinator. And the fact that Kendrick Bourne is in Matt Patricia's doghouse is a joke. Matt Patricia should be in the actual doghouse because he sucks at calling the plays.
He does.
Something needs to change there. And the fact that Matt Patricia has the authority of kicking some guy out of the offensive lineup because he doesn't like him just really irks me. I'm sorry.
No,
that is the dumbest thing ever. And I'm not blaming you for that, Tyler. I'm blaming Matt Patricia because he is being really immature about this. Just bringing it up. I don't know.
Okay, so
but yeah,
Kendrick Bourne is one of your star players, right? You paid him a lot in free agency.
Sure.
He's probably a leader on that team. He's a superstar. Anyway, he's a superstar, right? When you got young players in this league, who do they look up to? They look up to the veterans. They look up to the leaders, right? Your leader's late to a practice. Your leader's late to a meeting. Oh, Bourne, don't worry about it. It's all right. It happens. The young player, oh, well, if he can be late, I guess I can be late.
And I get the idea of setting
so now I can be late. No, you need to make an example out of him. No ifs, ands, or buts. If you're late, you're out. You're not going to be in the game plan.
Great.
You're out.
Great. If you
make
don't
an example out of him.
If you don't want to start him, that's
fine. Sadly, I have no sympathy for Kendrick Bourne. That was on him. He knows the repercussions. He's been in this league a while. He knows the repercussions of what happens when you miss a meeting. He knows that. These young guys don't, but now they do because they saw what happened to Kendrick Bourne. Do I think he should still be in the doghouse? No, he should have been in the doghouse that first game because before that is when he missed the meeting.
Again, Matt Patricia should be in an actual doghouse because he shouldn't have a job right now.
Yeah, no, he's the worst offensive coordinator.
Sorry.
That is not on Matt Patricia. And I can guarantee you that is probably not a Matt Patricia move. That is probably a Bill Belichick move.
Maybe. And you could make a case for that. And if that's a Bill Belichick move, I still have problems with it, but I can respect it because it's Bill Belichick trying to put his foot down. But at the same time,
not trying, he did.
At the same time,
my coach does that.
At the same time, though, Bill Belichick still benched Malcolm Butler in the Super Bowl. So he hasn't made the best moves with benching guys. I get the idea of making an example out of someone, but at the same time, you're still trying to win a football game.
Yeah, but it's no ifs, ands, or buts.
I don't care.
There is but you need to care.
I can respect Bill Belichick for making a move because he's Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
If this is Matt Patricia's fault, he needs to be fired immediately. Because listen, if you're a good coach and you want to make an example out of someone, people will look to that and they will respect it.
Yep.
If you are just an ass of a coach and just a jackass, no one's going to respect you for that. No one is going to look at you and end up saying, oh my God, I respect that guy. They're going to end up saying no.
So who are you saying is going to respect him?
They're going to say that guy's a joke.
Who are you going to say that's going to call him a joke? Players?
The rookies, yeah.
I'm sorry. Because these guys all have egos now.
I don't care about
these guys make it to league and think that
about the egos.
These guys are coming into league with these, but that's an ego problem.
Okay.
That's an ego. Oh, this guy benched his best. He's terrible. Why would I want to play for him? Oh no. Oh, Bourne missed the meeting. Oh no, that makes sense. That they're not going to say that. Young players, young kids, they don't think like that anymore.
Exactly.
They don't think. They just think, oh, you know what? I made it to the NFL. I'm the best.
Yeah.
I made it to the league. Look at me. Look at me. Look at my ego. My ego can't even fit through that goddamn door. And you're going to bench me because I missed a meeting? Yes, I am. I'm going to bench you because you missed a meeting. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Don't miss a meeting next time. You are in that league to make money. You're being paid millions of dollars to play a game of football, and you're gonna miss a meeting. You can be working a 9 to 5, working finance in frickin' Boston. That doesn't sound that much fun. We're at a business school, and a lot of these kids like that. But which one would you pick? I'd pick the football job all day, every day. And you're going to miss a meeting? And then you're going to be upset? No, dude, you did it to yourself. Like, my coach thinks like that. If I'm late, if I miss
Do you respect your coach?
Yes, because she doesn't. One of our best swimmers missed a practice. He missed his alarm. That man had to do an extra dryland workout. And everybody's like, she made him do that extra dryland workout for missing one practice? Yes, she made me do it. I missed a practice once. She doesn't care if you're the best on the team or you're not even a scorer. You are going to do. She's old school. That's why me and her. That's why she's one of my favorite coaches.
And I can respect that.
These guys are old school, and these players have these egos, and they don't respect that at all.
Okay, so but here's the thing: if there's a coach that they respect, then maybe that can mean something to them. They're not going to respect Matt Patricia. That's the case I'm making. They're not going to respect Matt Patricia, so anything he does is just going to come off as unjustifiable and just him acting unruly. That's the problem I'm having with him. That's the problem, is that they're not going to end up saying, "Oh wow, coach really put me in my place. I understand what I'm doing now." They're going to end up saying, "What is this dude doing? Like, he has no idea what he's doing, and he's like completely out of his mind." That's the problem they're going to have. And I that's the problem that I have with Matt Patricia and him possibly people being in his quote doghouse. If Belichick has a problem with someone, you can make a case for it, and we can talk about whether or not it's the right move based on, the schematics and the X's and O's of things. But if it's Matt Patricia, I'm sorry, Matt Patricia, you shouldn't have a job as the offensive coordinator of the Patriots. Give him all the credit as in the world as a defensive coordinator, but you should not be calling the plays on offense. No, this has never happened before where a defensive coordinator has gone over and just taken over the offensive plays calls like this. Hasn't happened. And the fact that it's gotten to this point is ridiculous.
It is. So let me ask you this. You're Devontae Parker or any of the receivers in that room.
Sure.
You don't like Matt Patricia, right? You just don't like him. He tells you to do something. Are you going to do it? What are you going to do? Well, how would you respond to it? Here's the thing. Hey, Brian, I want you. You're gonna go out there and you're gonna run this route.
Okay.
Go now. What?
I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna run the route. If he thinks and honestly, God, if it's the wrong thing, I'm wondering if I'm a player, I'm gonna wonder if he's even gonna notice. Because listen, he's a smart guy, he's a football guy, but his mind is defense. When Bill Belichick came up, he was defensive minded. And listen, Bill Belichick is going to know some stuff on offense. He's going to have some tricks up his sleeve. I'm not saying that these guys don't know anything about offense. Of course,
Belichick hired some of the smartest offensive coordinators in the league when he came in and was here in New England, because he was a defensive he was a defense guy. He was basically took reins of the defense and was like, "Here, offensive coordinator, I want you relying everything on the offense. You're going to come through me for a little bit, but it's mostly that's your side."
And that's the difference in what happens and what has happened to Bill Belichick. It has gone from it has gone from him saying, "All right, I'm going to hire the best guys. I'm going to bring the best guys in. And I need the people that can run this offense," to him just having his cronies around and just saying, "All right, Matt Patricia, he's the best guy for the job. All right, yeah, I'm not really."
Joe Judge has more qualifications than he does.
Sure. I mean, I don't like the fact that Joe Judge is running the quarterbacks now, but sure, Joe Judge does have some history of working with the offense. You can make a case for that. But the fact that it's gotten to this point, I'm sorry. I loved Matt Patricia on defense. He was the rocket scientist, but I'm sorry. He should not be calling the plays in offense for this team.
And I don't think McDaniels should have left.
Well,
that man is 1-3.
We wouldn't. What did you say?
That man is 1-3.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it lines up pretty well with his other coaching resume, but we got to wrap this thing up. So we got one more topic I want to talk about with you tonight, and it is in the NBA. And the one, the only, the man who dunked over the Kia, Blake Griffin, has signed a 1-year deal with the Boston Celtics. He will wear the number 91 for the team, which, honestly, God, the Celtics, they got to do something about those numbers, man, because they're really screwing some of these veterans. Like Dennis Schroeder had the number 71. Evan Fournier had 94. It's like, you can't get these guys a somewhat decent number, but at the end of the day,
they're all these numbers.
Well, no, they're all retired. All the good numbers, which is crazy. And I know Blake Griffin said that, the number 91, he chose it because of Dennis Rodman. But Dennis Rodman was crazy. Of course, he could wear number 91.
Yeah, but Dennis Rodman is one of the greatest players in NBA history.
Number 69, but the league wouldn't let him. Okay, fair enough. And Dennis Rodman was great at his position.
Stone cold killer he is.
So yeah, but I don't know. There's something interesting about this move. I'm not saying that Blake Griffin is going to change the whole dynamic of this team, but there's something interesting about this move. And I'll let you give your take on it first.
I just don't know what his role is going to be, because I mean, I've mentioned it all before. I'm a big veterans guy. You need veterans on teams. You just need guys that have way more experience than people like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Those guys are, they're now veterans, and respectfully, they're veterans now. But they still don't have as much experience as, say, Al Horford does. Yeah. Al Horford's your experienced leader.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing bringing in Blake Griffin? I don't think you need him.
Well, I mean, here's the thing.
Somebody like Al Horford is necessary. One, he still can play at a decent level, and he's going to be coming off the bench this season, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And I just love his role.
Well, maybe not at the start, because Robert Williams will be out for some significant
time. True. But I love his role. I love Al Horford's role. Blake Griffin, though, what's his role?
So Blake Griffin is going to help out on minutes while Robert Williams is recovering from his knee.
You think so?
That's why they're bringing him in.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other reason they would have brought him in other than that. So
sell some jerseys.
Yeah, I mean, it'll sell some jerseys, but listen, I like the move because it'll help us out in terms of depth. I like it. I don't hate the move, especially because we just lost Danilo Gallinari to a knee injury. Now with Williams out for some time, we're gonna need some help down low. So I don't hate the move. What is interesting about this move, though, outside of it just being Blake Griffin, I think that he'll add some stuff to the Celtics. It'll be good. He'll be good in some rotations, but I'm not really looking at this from a Blake Griffin perspective. What's interesting for me is this. Look at a lot of the teams that make runs at championships. Look at what they do in the buyout market. Look at what they do, in free agency right before their championship run. They're able to get established veteran guys to tag along, and people like to use the term ring chase, but a lot of these veteran guys that haven't won a ring, they'll end up saying, all right, I want to go play for a team that's going to have a shot at winning a championship. Blake Griffin had the chance to join the Boston Celtics when he was on the buyout market, but chose the Brooklyn Nets. At least I believe he did, or it might have been a trade, but hear me out. He at least chose Blake Griffin at least had gone to the Brooklyn Nets. What this means now is that the Celtics are becoming a premier destination for these veteran players. For a long time,
but it's always been a premier destination.
Yeah,
that destination.
No, it's a lot. It's frozen a lot of people out, and maybe you're able to entice some free agents. But in terms of getting like supplemental depth, the best guy I can think of in terms of bringing in a guy like this is Greg Monroe. That was like that. I remember when we brought in Greg Monroe, it was like, oh my God, we got this guy at center. This is great. What's interesting about Blake Griffin, it might set the precedent for other teams to basically say, for not other teams, but for other players to say, hey, if I'm going to get bought out by this team, why don't I join the Celtics? Like I could join the Warriors, but I think this Boston Celtics team is going to go on a run this year. Let me join them, be a part of their bunch, help them out, and win a championship. And I think, even with everything that's happened with Ime Udoka, people were saying, why would Blake Griffin choose to go to this team with all the drama going on? It's because he sees that they have a legit shot at winning a title, and he wants that on his resume.
Yeah, he just sees past the coaching. The coaching thing isn't like the biggest thing.
He doesn't care about.
Obviously, that's a huge
it's a huge story, but
it's a huge issue. But it's still, I mean, they got a talented team. Malcolm Brogdon is a great pickup.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a great
addition. It's not getting talked about enough. And I think the Celtics team, I really do think they're gonna have a good year this year. Obviously, injuries and stuff factor into everything, but I think they can go out there and they can build upon this finals appearance and really get
Gallinari's tore. What did he tear?
ACL.
Yeah, he's not back for the year.
Nope, he's done for the year, which is unfortunate. But so he's going to be out. Williams, I think, is going to miss between like 8 to 12 weeks is what they put him at. So he's going to be out for a good bit. So hopefully, whenever he gets back, he'll be able to just like come back like without missing a beat. But Blake Griffin's going to have to take a good management. He's going to have to be he's got a pretty good low that he's going to have to manage for the time being.
Yeah, he's gonna have some hefty minutes at the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. Hefty. Because you got a guy like him and Al Horford, they're probably going to be rotating those two.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both old.
Yeah.
Blake Griffin's got a little bit more. Actually, I don't know. Who's got a little bit more pep in their step?
Yeah, Blake Griffin's interesting. He averaged like 6 points the last time he was fully in the league. He didn't even really play last year too much. But it's interesting with him. He's not necessarily like that dynamic dunker that we saw come into the league. He's developed a little bit of a 3-point shot.
He's more of a shooter now.
Yeah, so he's got an interesting element to his game. I'm gonna be kind of like watching how that's gonna happen this year. So
interesting.
But yeah, no, what I really do like is the fact this might set the precedent for other veteran guys to say, hey, I could join the Cleveland Cavaliers, or I could join the Philadelphia 76ers, but no, I want to go to the Boston Celtics. I think they have the best shot at winning a championship. And having those veteran guys and having that presence, whether they've gotten there or not, it still sets the tone for that room. And we'll get guys like Jason Tatum, who's been in the finals but struggled, and guys like Jaylen Brown and those other guys to basically say, hey, I want to go out there. I want to win a championship. Let's really gear in here.
Yeah, but they also they teach you a lot. Mm-hmm. I mean, I remember when I was a freshman here, I had all the seniors. That one of the seniors' name was Rob Davis. Taught me so much. Mm-hmm. Taught me how to act, how to train, how to talk to your teammates, everything like that.
Sure.
That's what these guys are doing. They're not teaching those exact things, but they're teaching stuff along those lines. Here, this is how you perform. Mm-hmm. This is how you do this. Oh, you try this drill. It's going to help X, Y, and Z. And then you're going to play better on, whichever day they play.
Yeah.
I think veterans is a huge thing. And I think a lot of people be like, oh, this team is young. This team's amazing. Dude, you need a veteran in that locker room. Even if he's washed, like you need somebody in that locker room that has either gotten to certain points or they're just has so much experience. You need somebody. And like I said, Al Horford is just the biggest example of it. But now you add Blake Griffin. I think that's also what he brings. But he's also gonna have some hefty minutes.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a very interesting Celtics season. I cannot wait to watch. But Tyler, we have had a great episode here today, but we are now officially down to the wire, which means that we're going to wrap up everything we talked about in this episode and send all you beautiful people on your way. Obviously, back in the studio again with Tyler Stringfellow. Tyler, glad to have you back. Hope to have you back on some more this year. Really excited to have you.
Thank you.
And then outside of that, we broke down Aaron Judge's 62nd home run of the MLB season, passes Roger Maris for the original record in the AL that was set back in 1961. And frankly, the only thing I'll say about this is thank God we don't need to hear from Roger Maris Jr. anymore. Because I mean, listen, Roger Maris was a great player, but I don't know why his kid is giving all these opinions and why he is like the voice of reason in this whole thing. I appreciate him.
Entitlement.
Yeah, and like he's gotten a little kind of like crazy of just saying like, you know, it was 3 Yankees that set those big records, and I'm glad that Aaron Judge did. And I'm like, man, get off your high horse, enjoy your 15 minutes of fame. Yeah, like your father had a great season, but
take a hike, bro.
No, take
a hike.
Thank you. No, take a freaking hike, like Roger. After that, we talked about Tua's. After that, we talked about Tua's head injury, 2 consecutive concussions that he suffered. We talked about the doctor that cleared him being fired, and then as well as some other turf-related injuries and, you know, the NFL and how they should really be treating their players going forward. It's a really interesting conversation. We also talked about Brian Hoyer and Bailey Zappe, who should be starting, broke down whether, whether Matt Patricia should really have the authority to put people in his doghouse or not. That was a really interesting debate right there. I really loved that convo.
Indubitably.
And then we broke down Blake Griffin signing with the Boston Celtics and what this means for the team moving forward. Obviously, it's a great episode. I'm glad that you guys were able to tune in. And, we're going to be back on the radio more often, going to be doing more live shows. So you can listen to us on WJMF 88.7 HD2, Smithfield, Providence, or you can listen to us live online at WJMFradio.com.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you guys so much for listening. And from Down the Wire, I'm Brian Costa.
And I'm Tyler Stringfellow.
And we hope you guys have a great day. Take care.
Peace out.
Peace out.